Okay, September camp is chapter 3, solving linear equations. We're obviously going to start with section 3.1. Now on Canvas, I've given you the minimum assignment, numbers 1 through 23 odd. Really, it's just like anything else. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And, I have 1 through 20 all, 22, and 23. And really, this would be the minimum. This is probably actually the maximum. And so do a variety. If you see one that you're curious about, give it a try. When you get to these, I've made a couple notes that you don't have on your page that I've already uploaded to Canvas. Just remember that when you're finding the area of a rectangle, sometimes you'll see it as base times height. Sometimes you'll see it as length times width. Either way, one dimension is the base, the other dimension is the height, or one dimension is the length and the other dimension is the width. And then for triangles, most of us remember this, that area is 1/2 the base times the height. Base, height. And then same thing here if you go to solve this problem. Really, they're giving you the area, so you have that quantity. They're giving you the length or the width, whatever you want to call it. I guess I see it as the width. And then they're looking for the length. So you're solving for that variable. Okay, so just a few, a lot of this is me showing you good habits. The curious thing is most of us know PEMDAS, that's order of operations. When we're trying to undo an equation, that is get a variable by itself, we actually do order of operations in reverse. So any addition or subtraction would come before any multiplication or division. So I'm going to get x by itself, copy the problem, and work vertically and show your work. X equals -3. Sometimes the book shows the work horizontally, and I think that just has to do with how you print in a textbook. It's easier to show things horizontally. I don't know. This is the way I do it. Vertically, you can see that -7 undoes +7. So x equals -3. And you should just kind of check. It's easy to check mentally. This operation is subtract 12. To undo that, I'm going to add 12, and x is equal to 15. Sometimes a variable's on the right side, sometimes it's on the left side. We may or may not be comfortable with either way, but you should get comfortable with each. And also, I've had students who t's not such a bad variable, but s's or b's, or there's some variables that can easily, z's can easily be confused with numbers. Go ahead and change them to x's. That's fine as far as I'm concerned. Sure, should you be flexible and be able to use other variables? Yes, but if it's at the cost of error, then no. All right, what operation is being performed here? 4 times x is 48. How do you undo multiplication? You divide. We got some negatives here. Divide by -5. And again, y is on my right. What is this? 6 goes into 5 once. Is this 13? And negative divided by negative is a positive. If you'd like, to rearrange this so that it reads y equals 13, that's great too. Divide by -8. And a positive divided by a negative is a negative. N equals -3. It is a little more conventional and a little easier to read if you see it like this. Now, here's something that I feel strongly about. How do I, well, there's two ways to do it actually. How do I undo 5/6? Well, again, this is multiplication and division. They're essentially on the same order of operations, but the yucky part about this is the divide by -6. So we could first just multiply by 6, and that would undo this, and I would have 5w equals 60, and then I could divide by 5, and I would get w equals 12. Down here, I'm going to show you a different method for that. I can undo 2/3 in one fell swoop by multiplying by 3/2. So you can do it one step at a time. First undo the divide by 6 by multiplying by 6, then just divide by 5. Or you can undo the 2/3 by multiplying by 3/2. And notice when I'm multiplying by 3/2 over here, I turn 14 over 1 into a fraction. When I'm dealing with fractions, I like everybody to be a fraction. And therefore, that's how fractions work when you're operating with them. So the 3 divided by 3 is 1, and the 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I'm left with P. And then if you look at this, I have 14 over 1 times 3 over 2. And because multiplication and division are essentially the same order of operations, it doesn't matter what order you do them in. So I can do 14 divided by 2 and get 7, and then 7 times 3 is 21. That way you can do it in your head. I don't know if I have to do 14 times 3. I'd have to think about that, and then it would be 42, and then divided by 2 would be 21. But it's a little more efficient and good for your brain to think about this idea of I can divide numbers that are readily divisible. Okay, so now I have this -8 times -4/5 v. I'm actually going to put the -4/5 v over here, and again, what am I going to multiply by? -5/4. I want to undo the negative as well. So over here, I'm going to divide by -5. I'm going to multiply by -5/4. I'm going to change this into a fraction. The negatives become positive. The 5s cancel. The 4s cancel. Here, the negatives become positives. I'll write this out so you can see this again. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. V is 10. And I've sort of disrupted the original equation here, but it was -4/5 v. So if I multiply by 10, 10 divided by 5 is 2, 2 times 4 is 8, negative, and that was the original problem. A quick way to remind you how to do this area business, you should write the relationship or the formula A equals 1/2 B times H. If they tell me that the area is 25 inches squared, then I can say 25. And remember, inches squared is just inches times inches. And then that'd be 1/2 10 inches times X inches. And this is easy to take. Half of 2 is 5. So 25 inches times inches is 5 inches times X inches. And to get the X by itself, I divide by 5 inches. One of my inches cancels, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. So X is 5 inches. Units are much more important, I feel like, when you're doing chemistry or physics, and there's a lot of units you have to keep in order if you're doing some kind of conversion. Some of us get the idea that if I have 25 inches squared and one of my dimensions is 10 inches, my other dimension has to be in inches as well. So I'll leave that up to you, as long as your answer includes the units for now. That's most important. Don't forget to check your answers. You've got to check yourself, particularly when you're at camp. It's so important because I'm not there to look at it every day.